Hola, we're back. Okay,
Buenos
then we're
dias.
gonna we're gonna talk about emotional effects of sexless marriage.
First off, let's also make really clear um, a sexual Sahara occasionally
Yeah, that's gonna
because of
happen.
work projects, kids at certain ages,
Right. Health.
health. That's normal. We're not talking about that. We're talking about prolonged sexless marriages that are one or both partners are putting in either no effort or are intentionally not working towards it at all.
Most sex therapists define a sexless marriage as like maybe once a month over the course of a year.
It's 10 or less is one of the definitions I use. So you don't get the extra birthday sex and you don't even get once a month.
Yeah,
10 times or less is sexless. So if you're getting it 4 times a year, 6 times a year, you're having sex, that is a sexless marriage by definition. And one of, I think, the most prominent things we see is anger, frustration, resentment, which then can turn into contempt, which is
one of the 4 horsemen on the Gottman series of videos that he's got on his channel.
And it is the kiss of one of the 4 killers of relationships.
Absolutely.
And how about feeling lonely when you're in a relationship?
There is actually a thing called touch starvation.
Yes, we hear a lot of guys. They just what they wouldn't get. And we're talking sexless marriage. What we're talking about is lack of intimacy and physical affection is more damaging, I believe, than you could put sex in there twice a month, but what they really want is the hugs, and the connection, and the intimacy.
And there's so many studies that back this up. We are made to have that kind of connection.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, all of this can lead to depression and anxiety.
Yep. And at a certain point, whether it is the man or the woman, you give up.
Yeah.
And when you give up, it's because you feel the relationship has or is dying.
You go through a grief process.
Yeah. And, we talk about the stages of grief, and people think, oh, well, it doesn't work like that. It's like a pinball.
Yeah. And it's all muddled together.
And it hits you out of the blue. And the reality is, sex is good for your health also.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. For so many reasons.
Besides that, it feels good. Now, for men, they get tired of being constantly rejected.
So it goes the other way too. Yes.
And men, I want to tell you something. I was listening to a podcast where a woman talked about why she couldn't initiate. And this goes back to the first year of her marriage. Her husband was an IT guy. I'm not throwing them all under the bus. I'm just saying. Technical engineering type. And she put on the whole full-on Victoria's Secret lingerie, garter belts. They're a pain in the ass to put on, too.
Yes, they are.
The whole 9 yards. Came downstairs, and he looked up, and he's like, I forget how she described it, but he goes, give me just a couple of minutes. Okay, gentlemen, when your wife or girlfriend comes down the stairs like that, you don't say, give me a couple of minutes and go back to finish your work. Yeah. You go take care of her.
So, I mean,
she felt rejected.
That leads to all these self-esteem issues.
20 years she never initiated after that.
I absolutely believe it because I had a similar experience.
Yes.
I mean, those kinds of things. The rejection leads to self-esteem issues, and guys, you talk a lot about, well, she feels she doesn't feel good about what she looks like, and I love the way she looks, but she feels awful about the way she looks. You might have contributed to that unknowingly.
Unknowingly. Now, what do I do if you show up in lingerie?
I'm not going to say that on camera.
Oh, okay. Let's just say it's really pretty wrapping paper.
It goes well.
Good point. I really didn't think that question through. We don't script out what we're going to talk about. But all of this, all of this leads to self-esteem issues for both parties.
Yeah.
Because if you're a woman and you've been brought up being told men only want one thing, which is a lie, and you've heard that your entire life, and now he's not interested in sex. One,
Right.
If you have a partner who is not interested in sex, your husband, your boyfriend, he needs to get a physical, because if there's been no major issue, maybe his testosterone level is tanked. Maybe he needs to look at getting testosterone replacement. Maybe he needs to get back in the gym, and maybe he needs a partner to kind of encourage him to. Men sometimes are noted for not taking care of themselves maybe the way they should. And I'm here to tell you, man, if you got a partner who wants you to go to the doctor, get some things checked, and is concerned for you because you're no longer interested in making love to her, I'd say you got a good partner there.
Yeah.
And you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about in the next video some things to do when you're trying to overcome these problems. But this causes a bigger and bigger rift.
Yeah. I think it kind of leads sometimes to one or both feeling like a failure.
Yeah. And again, we're talking about connection, intimacy, dancing up and down the staircase of intimacy. I'm not talking about sex.
Yeah.
Just getting laid. That's what little boys want to get laid. Men want to just enjoy the beautiful woman they're married to or they're with. We've got some long-term partners who, in my communities, who maybe aren't married, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, they love the woman they're with, and they want to feel that is when the greatest connection a man can have. And he said, "I will not be with others because I will just be with you." And so that's something. There's a lot of boys running around out there who don't do that.
And, she really feels that when it's something that you show.
Well, and again, men, you're supposed to be running the romance department because you never get to stop dating your woman. You should look at it as an honor that you get to do that, not a burden. Yeah. Okay?
Now, ladies, there's a lot to be said there. If, he's not stepping up to the plate, there might be some things you can do to kind of tip those scales, but that's a different video.
Yeah, and I work with the top quarter of men. That's the thing that gets me in trouble sometimes because I don't work with the bottom quarter. And I work with the high quality.
And you don't work with the ladies, which, if I'm being honest, it's a challenge when... no offense, ladies, but when you be nice, when it is genuinely his responsibility to lead in that department, and that's not happening, there's only so much that can be done on the other side.
Nope. Fair. All right. We're going to go next. We talk about some of the things we can do to fix this situation or to get the ball rolling towards a healing, healthy sexual relationship between two people who love each other.
Yep.
All right.